everybody, welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Hi everyone, my name is Joe.
So we're here today, and we were talking earlier today, Joe and I. Well, actually, we've been talking about this for the last couple of days, about weird things, supernatural things, demonic activity that's been happening around us. I actually made a video on it on Friday, and Joe and I thought for the Sharon and Joe Show, we would continue on talking about that.
Yeah, we've made it in past videos too. We've talked about the experiences that we had that were just, it couldn't be explained. I mean, sometimes when you mention the word demonic, some people already put the walls up and they think it's hokey, but I believe in that kind of stuff. I believe in, manifestations of evil and different forces and a spiritual world. I mean, everything that we see, touch, and feel, we believe is there, but I know that there's things that are unseen that are more real than that.
I agree. I understand when some people think it's crazy talk. I get that. And I know. I thought that for a long time. But one of the things about narcissism is once I understood that my ex was a narcissist, it almost seemed like a couple of things happened. One, I ended up having a fantastic relationship with God, one that I didn't have before. But also, I'm more aware of something outside of the world that I see.
It's almost like narcissism, at least the higher end narcissism, the spectrum that people are on, if you call them people. It's like that and like the evil energy, like they go hand in hand.
There's something wrong with narcissists. And it's not just that there's something wrong. There's something evil connected to them.
I believe so, at least in my experience and a lot of experiences that other people have had. A couple of weeks ago, we did a video, and then I got this feeling inside. I was like, Sharon, like I'm close to the end of this divorce. It's been going on for over 2 years. And I just had this feeling like, I better chill for a little bit. I'm so close to the end. And
when you say it's chill, you means like with YouTube.
Yeah, I better, and there's nothing that I've said that has been derogatory or would be a defamation of character. I haven't name dropped any names, but the entity, or when I call it a person that I'm dealing with, is very, very bitter and very just ill will and malice and capable of anything. So I told Sharon, I think I'm going to kind of bow away for a little bit. And sure as shit, like 2 days later, I got this text bomb from the ex out of the blue. Just, threats and like just sarcasm and, like a little demon baby, like they're
it was, she's incredibly immature. Like immature on a shocking level. And this is somebody that's not, 15 years old.
Yeah, and behind that immaturity, though, comes a lot of devastation that she's just not capable of because of her intellect and who she is. It's just, these things are capable of destroying anything they come into contact with.
A long time ago, I mentioned in a video that when my daughter was a little girl, she found this caterpillar outside, and she caught this caterpillar, and she wanted to keep it as a pet, and I told her we could keep it for a day or two, and then we had to release it. Well, the first day we had it, maybe it was the second day, it was before we could release it, it actually formed a chrysalis. So I thought, well, all right, I guess we're keeping this thing. So we had it, and it actually stayed she caught this in September around there, and it wasn't until the following spring that it actually hatched. And when it came out of the chrysalis, it was a wasp. And what had happened, we were shocked because we knew what type of caterpillar it was, so we knew what we should be expecting. It was the most stunning thing. One morning, it was just this angry wasp flying around. So when I looked it up, what had happened was a parasite had laid an egg on this, and the parasite, like the wasp parasite, ate the caterpillar that was in the chrysalis, and it grew, and then it formed into a wasp, and then that is what came out of the chrysalis. So, it was the most shocking thing, but I think of that with narcissists. Whatever else they were, whatever other potential they had, something else got to them and ate them away, and now they're a new entity. And when Joe said that, we've been doing this show together for over a year.
Yeah.
And he had never said anything ever, never like this. And then he says it to me, and I could see this fear. And then it was 2 days later, and it's not just that she was saying threats or things like that. She specifically mentioned the YouTube channel. And to have us make these videos for over a year, and then it just, I don't know. Joe had a bad feeling, and then boom.
Yeah, there it was.
Yeah.
Speaking of wasp and bees nests and stuff like that, ever since then, we've had this like pestilence of a lot of flies in the house.
Let me just back up
And
for
yeah,
1 second. To the video I made on Friday was related to demonic activity. Joe and I want to continue that on in tonight's video, and we want to talk to you about some things. We want your input on this because we have had some issues around the house, and Joe can tell you they happened. Some of these things happened right at, like, I don't. It might even been the same day that Joe got these threatening texts, and some other things have been going on for a while. Things that we believe is connected to evil, like something wrong.
something like manifesting into a different way, I guess, if you want to call it. I mean, some people get stuck on words like devil or Satan, and the same people they have a problem with that believe in energy, and negative energy and stuff. It's like, let's not get stuck on the words. Let's use the words to point to something bigger, and I choose to call it evil or demonic. Maybe, whatever. It's just my experience and how I see it.
Feel like, really, when it comes down to it, if we're talking here on YouTube, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We
Yeah, this is our
Joe and
channel,
I, we're Christians. We I don't know. I didn't always believe this. Like I mentioned the other day, I used to be a cafeteria Christian. I would kind of pick and choose something like evil or devil, Satan. That sounded like crazy town, but my experiences, and also in retrospect, things I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this was happening. They point to something else. So I'm not going to pretend that I don't feel this way. I believe it.
We've had a lot of, and I know that some of our YouTube videos we intentionally kept private in a private folder for now until these divorces are over.
Almost all the Sharon and Joe videos are in. I still have them. I'm going to put them back up. But until we actually thought Joe's divorce was imminent, and it is not imminent. It could possibly be in November. So we're just keeping it
chill.
Yeah, for now.
For now, they'll use anything to get just a delay and make your life miserable.
Yeah.
But we have talked in the past about personal experiences. Well, Sharon and I, before we even ever met, like when I was going no contact, it had been that first year, and the things that would happen at nighttime. It was as real could be for me.
Joe, tell us. I mean, I know what it is. I can remember this I know this had happened before me, but also when we were having a long distance relationship, things like this were happening to you.
Yeah, at nighttime, I had this feeling, you guys, like that. See, I'm no angel, you guys. If you've heard my videos in the past, I'm a recovered alcoholic and drug addict. But there was a time in my life before I got sober that I did a lot of things that I had to make amends for, and thank God he gave me that gift of sobriety when I turned 25 years old. But I remember having the feeling like that the things that were happening to me at nighttime, the vibe I would get at night, I'd wake up in the middle of the night with panic attacks, and I would remember praying and talking to Jesus. It was like they were allowed to scare the hell out of me, and even cause physical ailments to me, but they couldn't kill me.
Did you feel, if I'm remembering correctly, did you feel like something was nearby?
Yeah,
an entity.
They weren't allowed to go in my room, but I remember them just this. Whatever these things they were peeking through my door, and that's when I would pray. I would feel really good when I reached out to Jesus. My faith grew really strong. But the physical ailments, I've had this ear infection for a year now. The way my body has been depleted, the cortisone levels. It's a combination of physical, spiritual, mental things that have been happening to me, physically, where I've gotten sick, and it's been really bad. It was really bad for a long time. See, I was with somebody who had shared with me. I had childhood trauma when I was young too, and this ex-narcissist of mine had shared with me when she was a little girl. She went through some abuse too. That there was this demon that was after her. And when we were married, at nighttime, her arms would raise up into the ceiling. So she was flat on her back sleeping, and her arms would raise up into the ceiling. And I told her one time I saw this, I was like, what the hell? And she told me she has night terrors of this demon chasing her. So I knew something was up, and for whatever reason, man, my codependency, my low self-worth, it was just, it became normal. Like this thing I lived with, whatever
Evil,
was
yeah.
running through her for so long. But when I look back, I'm like, man, what the hell was I thinking? Like, it's like watching a scary movie, and these people go into a haunted house, and crap starts happening. It's like, what are you doing still
get
there?
out.
Like, get the hell out. I would have left, like, I don't care if I got kids or whatever. We all would have been packing and staying at a hotel.
But I think part of it is, and this is what happens to me too, today when I look back, it's very scary to me, things that happened. But at the time, you're not thinking that there's evil here or that it's satanic.
You're not linking it up
exactly.
with that. It's just kind of, I don't know.
In retrospect.
Yeah, it's in
realize,
hindsight.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
And we invited these things into our home.
Yes.
And we invited them like
well, that was something Joe and I talked about. Evil wants to be invited in.
Speaking of which, like, we've been having problems with flies, a hornet's nest outside. I'm allergic to bees. Like, the last, I don't know, week or so, we've been having problems with, like, flies at our front door.
They're swarming.
Tell them what happened to the snakes in the tank and stuff.
Oh my God, you guys.
And water leaks. And Sharon had them at her house, like 3 states over. Like, there was a water leak in my garage. I tore the drywall down. It was all wet. I had to get all the mold out. I tore the damn drywall down to try to get to the leak, and then it stopped leaking.
Yes.
And then there's like a leak somewhere else. And then there's like something to do with water, but I always thought water was like spiritual life giving, like we're baptized with water. But Sharon explained to me in her house she had the same problem, like leaks in the walls and buckled flooring. And so that's been like, it's like a pestilence.
We've had, like when I lived in New Hampshire, there was a time period, and this was when my ex was in the house. We had water everywhere. It was all over the place. Now, I mentioned this in Friday's video, so I won't like go too far into it, but I'll just tell you one of the weirdest things that I saw was water would form in the middle of a wall. Just in the middle of a wall. It would streak down. It would look like a teardrop. I actually, and it was it was on the floors, in the middle of the floor. It was just bizarre. I had people come over. Nobody could figure it out. One time, someone came over, and there was a water, like there was wet water. It was right on the wall. It hadn't dried. And he's like, can I cut a hole in the wall? Let's see what's behind it. And I let him cut a hole in my wall, and there was nothing behind it. And we're having similar things here. Like, we saw a puddle in the garage earlier. It's just
But there's nowhere it came from. And if you listen to Sharon's stories in the past or mine, it's not just the water. Like Sharon had seen something or felt something's presence in our garage about 5 months ago or so.
I saw something in Joe's garage. I use the garage. Joe works from home. And I do a couple of things in the garage. I use the garage as almost like my office.
Yeah, it's kind of like another room. We got to clean down. It's real nice and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to work in.
I was in the garage. When was this? It was a couple of months ago. And actually, this was, I think it was February, March. I was in the garage, and I felt something here. I turned around, and for a flash, I saw a woman. Like, I saw a woman. I could see her. And I described, it was just for a second, but I can still remember her. She was probably like in her 50s, maybe 60s. She was a little bit overweight. She had like blondish hair. Like, she was in the garage. Like, I saw it. Now, she was just watching me.
And I can't think of anybody that I know of, that looks like that or anything like that. So we're not trying to overreach, something.
And I know it sounds goofy. Like, I get it, but this really happened. I'm not on drugs. I'm not like, this really happened. I saw this, and there's been other. And I want to know what you guys think.
Or if you guys have ever experienced it, like, a psychologist might say it's an inward manifestation. Whatever it is, I call it like spiritual warfare in a way. You know what I mean?
I think it is spiritual warfare because we've both had breakups before. Other people have had breakups. You're not like debilitated,
Yeah, the fly problem. The thing about it this time, where I used to be afraid, this time it's almost as if like it's how do I explain it, Sharon? It's like a sore loser kind of
Joe
vibe.
and I, for the last couple of months, Joe had a really rough time in the winter, like a really rough time, and
I thought for a while that I was causing the negative vibes.
You did.
It's like I thought there was something wrong with me. Just like before, I thought was I the narcissist and this and that. I'm far beyond that now, but Yeah, I just didn't
We're in
know
a
it was.
good place.
Yeah, we're in a good place now.
And I think because of that, like Joe and I are in a good place in our relationship. We're in a good place with our kids. Like everything's going really well. So I think we're at the point now. Like so, when he says like a sore loser, like
The kind of vibe, like it's just they know that they're losing,
yeah,
and it just they're sore losers. Like whatever that force is, it's just like
evil
they don't.
will do anything.
Yeah, they don't want to go away without just having something to say about it. I'm hoping, I'm praying.
Guys,
That's the
I'm
feeling
going
I
to
have.
tell you something about flies. All right, this is a revolting story. So we've been having a fly issue. Now, I'm going to tell you something. We do not live in a dirty house. We have a lot of animals. So if you think, oh, it's probably the animals, it's clean.
We keep it real clean.
Really clean, and but we having flies around. So we're trying to figure out where these flies are coming from. They're just like randomly around the house. Then I started noticing them by the front door. There would just be flies flying all around the front door. Now there's nothing there. Like the front door, there's some flowers. That's it. It's pretty. It's pretty clean, right?
Yeah.
There's just a couple flowers, and then there's like some mulch with flowers and little bushes in them. That's it. There's nothing. There's not decaying matter anywhere. They've been around. So this morning we have a water leak. Water is leaking out of. We had 4 of the snakes in what room is it? The furnace room.
First room, yeah.
So we kept the breeding snakes in the furnace room. And so,
Sharon breeds snakes, if anybody's noticing.
yes, I'm a snake breeder. So we had the breeding females in the furnace room, and I check it every day to make sure they have water, that type of thing. So this morning, I go in to check the snakes, and I've been having water leaks in there too. So I've been checking for water leaks in there, and to make sure the snakes all had water and things like that. All right, I go in this morning, and one of the snake cages. Now I'm going to tell you something. We have 4 snakes in there. One of them, her name is Vashti. So like just to keep in mind, so that's the only one with the biblical name. All right, so we have Vashti, we have Masada, Sabina, and Scarlet. So we have Vashti, is the Bible name one. In her cage, you guys, were flies. There were, I don't know, like a dozen flies in there. Joe was still asleep. I can't believe I didn't scream when I saw this. So at first, my first thought, now this is kind of gross too, but if anyone has snakes, especially if you have a lot of them, this does happen occasionally. Sometimes, no, I don't feed my snakes live ever. They eat what's called frozen thawed, so buy dead mice in bulk and thaw them out and feed them. Occasionally, I have accidentally left a dead mouse in a cage. I've never once had a maggot, a fly, like never. So when I first saw those flies, my first thought was, oh my God, I must have left a mouse in there long enough for this to happen. So I like grabbed the snake out, and then I'm like lifting up everything to look for it. There was nothing in there. It was a completely clean cage. I keep my animals very clean.
Sharon's a veterinarian,
yes,
you guys.
I'm a veterinarian. I don't have animals I don't take care of. Very clean. There's just the bedding, some like stuff for them, like tubes, things for them to hide in, and water. So when I discovered that I had not accidentally left an animal, like a dead mouse in there, I grabbed the snake out. I was so horrified, and then I moved the snake, and the other 3 cages. So remember, Vashti had this problem with. The other 3 were fine. Later, Joe went to work, and I was talking to my daughter, and I was like, "Oh my God, Paris! Like the grossest thing happened." So I went in to show Paris. The cage was refilled with flies. Like there were tons of them in there. And I had to go to work too. And Paris and I were hauling everything out of that. We took all the snakes out, moved them somewhere else. We took the cage outside, and I opened it up, and flies were pouring out of it. And then we keep them in these cages, glass cages that have like front opening doors, and there's like a screen top on the top of it. They were underneath the screen top. It was
yeah, Sharon, like
disgusting.
Yeah, it was, and like these are the manifestations, I believe, of like both of us are close to the end of the legality part of our divorces. It's been over 2 years for Sharon. It's been 2 years for myself. The first year we never even met. Like we worked our asses off in building a relationship with God. His mercy, His power is what kind of saved our asses. He did for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. We worked on ourselves and our own codependency issues, and we found each other. But like that first year, like, it was tough. Now it's like
It was like the first year was tough inside, right? Like emotionally.
inside, and then like I was very scared. Like I had about 2 or 3 panic attacks a week. I'd call you up in the middle of the night. I couldn't breathe. I woke up, and I the only reason why I woke up is I couldn't breathe.
Joe
I felt
would call
oppressed.
me, and he had told me before, if I call you and I don't say anything,
That means I'm having a
I'm
panic
having a panic attack. Like talk to me, and that
And I used to run water to help me get through the panic attack, because the sound of running water, like by a creek or whatever, I always kind of like drowned out all the noise in my head and outside, and it kind of calmed me down. But the problems with the plumbing, and we have a clogged leak, it's weird, you guys. And it's just kind of like, I'm not afraid anymore. It's more like they're just being sore losers about it, or whatever that case is. But it's just, I just thought we would throw it out there to see if you guys had anything like that at all, or like.
You know what? I want to just say one more thing, because we hadn't mentioned really like the yellow jackets.
Yeah.
Joe's allergic to yellow jackets. The same area, like right in the front door, we had like the flies. We still have it. The flies swarming around. There's also yellow jackets all around. Now, my daughter found these, and it looked like they were kind of going behind the siding. So I went, like, right as soon as she saw it, I literally drove to CVS and bought like stuff to like Raid to spray that. Coated the area. Now, granted, they were going behind the siding, so maybe like I didn't get it all. We didn't see them for a couple of days, and then today they were back. They're back today for the first time. And then, so remember, Joe's allergic, so we get these like flies all around the front door. Then we have yellow jackets all around,
and the water leak.
The water leaks. But then Joe and I were going out for a drive, and I happened to look in. We took my car, and I happened to look in Joe's car. There was a dead yellow jacket just in the car, like just on the back dash. So there's these weird things happening. And Joe and I are talking, and the two of us, we believe, when Joe got these texts from his ex, he had sent me the text, and did you not read them all?
I don't, like, here is the deal, you guys. It kind of stinks that we had to take the Sharon and Joe videos down just to kind of protect my butt, but from what I don't know, you guys, but I just know that this, whatever I'm dealing with, is just very, very evil and capable. Trust me on that, because I've experienced it. But whenever I get a text from the ex, I just forward it to Sharon. Like, Sharon's my best friend. I just forward it to her, let her deal with it and read it, because there's a lot of threats in the past, man, and a lot of stuff that she's done and she's capable of. I just don't want to deal with.
There's also a lot of, like one thing that surprised me with the text is the immaturity level, where it's literally along the lines of, I'm going to take this and you can't have it, LOL, haha. Like, and that's not me saying, I really get this vibe. She's feeling that, she's saying that. She's really writing that. So there's whole immaturity level. It's odd to me. I can't imagine sending my ex a text saying, like, taunting him. Haha, I got this, and, F you, like, haha, LOL. Like,
they're
that's
like,
what it is.
They remind me of, like, spoiled little shit toddlers with a loaded gun in their hand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why, like, the damage that they can do, like, they don't have the mentality to be able to do that kind of damage. Like, to destroy families and steal souls and steal your time and manipulate. And it's just, of themselves, they're really nothing. There's a force through them that drives them.
That's why when I mentioned at the beginning that caterpillar that turned into a wasp, have you ever heard of somebody that has superhuman strength, right? Like, because I've heard this before with people that people believe are, controlled by demons. It takes, like, they'll go crazy, take five or six like big policemen to subdue the person. I feel almost like I feel like that's how it is. Like, we're dealing with this stuff, and I feel like whether it's Joe's ex, my ex, I don't know, but there's something that connects to them. Yeah. And it's like, so it comes here with fly swarms, or just because it's filth. Flies are attracted to filth, and then to go to Vashti, it just seems weird.
Well, I think in a way that these things, as we used to be codependents, and it's like narcissists and codependents are attracted to each other like, flies to a flame, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we've changed, and those things are still happening. We're not the same people. We're not as afraid. We're not
at all.
We're not codependent anymore. We're not dependent on somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a different vibe where it's just like, you can't really hurt me, but man, it's just still like a pestilence. Like,
and that's really what it is. It's an annoyance. It's disturbing, but we're not afraid. We're not, cowering in the corner like, oh my gosh. We're like, all right, this is the best you have kind of thing.
I think evil's always going to be, even like when we're legally detached and spiritually and all this other stuff from these, which we are already. I think evil's going to be evil. I always say, like, you can't put your guard down. The devil's in the corner still doing push-ups. You always have to be vigilant and on guard. You don't have to be hyper-vigilant the way I was, and I can't, when I had my CPTSD, but yeah, it's just, we wanted to get out there since Sharon did her last video on, demonic entities and narcissism. We thought we'd throw it out there and see if any of you guys have had any experiences with any of that stuff.
Yeah, tell us. Like, we really want to know. Like, we're being, like, buck naked honest with you here. Yeah. These are things that are happening to us. And I know that this happens to other people, too. So we would love to hear from you. So definitely leave a comment. Let us know. Email us. Whatever you want to do. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys in our prayers and keep us in your prayers. And we'll keep fighting a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, I hope you have a great week. It's Saturday night right now, but it'll be Monday when you see this, and I will see you on Wednesday, and maybe I'll give you an update.
Yep.
Right, see if the flies have gone away. And by the way, Vashti is fine. She's okay. She wasn't harmed. It just, I was revolted and disgusted. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.